Everyone at YouTube, and welcome back to a new video with me, the Rambling Groundhopper. And we are doing a live watch along. We did a lot of these during the World Cup matches, so I think it's only fair that we do a bit of domestic football as it is today, round one of the EFL Cup. And therefore, we're going to be watching Wrexham take on Middlesbrough in the EFL Cup round one. Should be an interesting game in this one. Last season's playoff finalists, of course, Wrexham, but Borough rather. Whereas Wrexham are a team that, well, they've got all the sort of mega money behind them, and it will be the away side kicking us off. For the lineups, it's a 4-1-4-1 for Borough with Bryn in goal, Callum Britton, Luke Ayling, Neto Borges, and Arston in back four. Melanda as a holding midfielder, Morgan Whitaker, Berhalter, Castledine, Sarmiento, and Lancashire leading the line. Wrexham gone with a 3-5-2 with Ward in goal, Viner, Dominic Hyam, and Doyle in the defensive three. Danny Imray, Rathbone, Matty James, O'Brien, Thomason, Sam Smith, and Nathan Broadhead will be the two leading the line. So some interesting ones to get your teeth into. Carl Joseph is on and Sammy Dieng on the bench for Borough, whereas the likes of Kayla Dunn and Ben Whiteman, last season's Preston North End captain, on the bench for Wrexham. So it started off with an Ayling throw-in for Borough, about halfway through the pitch. It should be an interesting one. I don't know what you lot make of the new Borough kit, but for me it feels a bit Man United-y, you know, that golden enough. And I know they're having an anniversary, but it's almost Man United or Liverpool. It's not quite for me the right shade for a Borough red, if you get what I mean in that regard. In the opening stages, it seems to be Middlesbrough, who understandably at home are the ones who are going to be containing possession. And sort of lifted the ball over. A good early sustained attack, but it's ultimately snuffed out by Rathbone. And Borough will have to come again from the back. It's a very typical championship game, this one. The lineups aren't the weakest in the world, to be fair. I think there's some strong players in this starting 11. I think there's a blend of the second team and the first team. A lot of teams are treating this like a pre-season friendly, albeit it's got a penalty shootout and a prize for the next round of a cup in store. Danny Imray is forced to put the ball behind for a throw-in. Sarmiento has looked bright immediately off the off from that right-hand side. He's certainly a bit of a veteran, and I think he's almost Premier League standard, I'd say. A lovely searching ball forward. Can't quite get there, can Sarmiento, but I saw the effort. It was a fantastic pass from deep. It might be Melanda with the ball. Now, we saw Danny Imray with Bromley when they did a live watch one when he was with Bromley in the FA Cup, and I was really impressed by him. So it'll be interesting to see if with him in the Championship, and he was obviously with Wrexham last season, what he can do. And Wrexham are having their first attack of the game on this near side with Nathan Broadhead. Opts to use Doyle. He whips across, but it's just punted behind. It'll be kept alive, though. That is phenomenal if this can come off. Smith has managed to win his side a throw in. Arston coming back in the defence to poke it behind, but it was a wonderfully inviting ball by Doyle and couldn't quite make contact. Who was that rushing in? I think that was Rathbone who was just trying to get the contact, and from the off, Borough have been sort of caught sleeping in possession, and I think Wrexham are looking devastating in a potential counter, but it's really opening up now, and Borough are finding themselves down on the near side this time with some action as Whitaker passes it forward into the path of Berhalter, who his cross doesn't quite get on target, but they will get a throw in. So Britain, who is still even at this stage in his career, an absolute threat down the near side. Berhalter off to Britain, and he got past his man and won his side a corner there. Doyle had to come out and do the defensive work. Some fantastic work. Don't know if Britain's the captain today. SofaScore is requiring me to sign in now, so I'll have to make an account. Whittaker, formerly from Derby's academy, and sort of came to everyone's attention at Plymouth Argyle, though. And there has been a foul in the area. I don't think it is Britain as a captain. I think it's Ayling. Both very, very experienced players, though. Yeah, a foul in the penalty area has meant that Wrexham will be taking a free kick through Ward. I'm a bit iffy about Danny Ward. Let me know. I think there are better keepers out there as an option, but as a Championship player, he is Wales' number 2, naturally behind Wayne Hennessy. I just don't get the feeling that he has that sort of ability of a player. That is beautiful work there by Championship. It just shows the different standards of football which is involved. And there will be a run by Arston for Borough. Cross to Berhalter. Laying it out to Whittaker. Whittaker can cut inside here. I don't think he's quite Premier League quality. I know he's had a few links with moving to the Premier League with Morgan Whittaker, but I don't think he's quite that ability. Danny Imre, by the way, is an absolute baller. And I wouldn't be surprised if he can get it to the very top of the game. He just lifted it behind to ensure a corner. But he does both ends of the game very, very well. I could see him moving quite easily into a Crystal Palace or a somewhere like a West Ham or a Brentford. One of them sort of. I know West Ham are in Championship now, but traditionally a lower half of the table Premier League teams. And he's still quite young. The cross comes in and it's poked. Ward has to get down and make the save there. Thought it was going to be an open tap in there, but Ward did great to recover. The cross comes back in for the second. At the moment, Wrexham are struggling to deal with things as he's not ever going to get a penalty there. I mean, he's just walked over the player and then falled over. But there's a couple of sustained attacks there by Borough. And surprised they didn't get the ball over the line into the back of the net. I must say, been an exciting game. We watched Sheffield United versus Birmingham in this stage last season, and it was equally as exciting. I think there is an element that they do play at least teams that somewhat involved in the first team compared to the Premier League. Sam Smith can't quite just hold up. He's just surrounded by red. Both of these two teams' home kits are normally red, so it will be the sort of it's almost black, come navy blue sort of kit for Wrexham. As they come forward through Doyle, the cross comes in. It's initially slid away, and it'll be a throw in for Wrexham. Important defensive work. I suspect I'm not going to give away my Championship predictions because they will come, but I think Borough are certainly going to be challenging for the title this season with their combination of a Hayden Hackney fund and a sell-on clause for Morgan Rogers. They've got about £50 million in the bank, and so can just definitely improve this squad, which I think is already a pretty strong one. Britain has it now. It's one of them teams that I always get frustrated playing Borough as a Derby fan. Because they are just so... They can snatch a 1-0 win, and they do very well. I have also got some Thatcher's Gold, so strictly neutral with the Southwestern team. Maybe to atone for my slightly bias towards Walsall. And the fact that Bristol City won last night up against Walsall. But it's also in a Gresley Rovers Cup, so you can't complain too much. It was almost so close there. Just needed someone to take the final touch, and it's a great save in the end, actually. It was Castledine with the effort. Lancashire, I think, is a summer signing for Borough, but he comes with a lot of pedigree behind him. Or was it Melander? It might even be Melander, actually, with the final touch. I couldn't see if it was a 19 or 29. But Middlesbrough have a free kick going forward, and Morgan Whittaker, who's ever a live wire, manages to win his team a corner by playing the ball off Thomason. Borough's Riverside Stadium is actually relatively full for this game. So good on them, I'd say, on a Friday night in the EFL Cup. You thought it'd be a bit empty. Now, I don't know whether that's just because the camera is facing towards the stands that have been sold, but it seems to me that there's a fair few. There's all a bit of shoving around going in the box at the moment between Neto Borges and his opposition. The corner comes in. It's actually on the outside, but again, a free kick's being given to Wrexham. I think it's just frustrating when that sort of thing happens because both sides jostle in the penalty area, by the way. But if a foul's given the other way, it ends up with the corner having to be retaken. Whereas if it's the sort of attackers who are fouled, then it's going to end up in a free kick. It's not a consistent play. So I think, though, on balance, you'd have to say that this team for Borough at the moment have been much brighter of the two. And already looking at some of the players on the bench, you've got the likes of Cleworth, Keller-Dunn, Whiteman. Whiteman coming literally in only a couple of days ago from Preston North End after the captain kicked off and was sold for £3 million. So Wrexham yet again showing their financial firepower. Unfortunately, Luke Haling's through ball doesn't find anyone, and Ward has to clear this because there's a lot of pressure being sustained by Lancashire. He only doesn't get the necessary desired target, but Luke Haling can't quite get past his opposition in. Is that Broadhead? Yeah, it's Nathan Broadhead. And it's cut in field to O'Brien. Lewis O'Brien, I believe it is. He used to play for Huddersfield, if I remember rightly. And Wrexham are trying to squeeze through a shooting opportunity, but Wrexham have clearly denied it and got a throw in for Wrexham. Viner will take this throw. Borough, yet again, defending well. Viner's not going to take it, but it was certainly something that we've not seen a great deal is goalmouth clear opportunities for Wrexham. I mean, they could get one here with a throw-in a threatening area. It's headed away, but it will go straight back to the throw and taker, Danny Imre. A lifted crossover. It's headed back in the mixer. A little bit of last-ditch defending there by Luke Haling was what was needed and called upon there. But the sustained attack isn't over yet. I will say that. Doyle goes in field. It's not quite a cross that I thought was going to be coming. Wrexham have a lot of players in midfield, by the way, so you'd expect them to win that dominance, but so far I would argue they haven't done. That's a late challenge, but the referee is playing advantage at the moment, but I don't think advantage was there, and the referee does bring it back for a free kick. That is well managed. Very well done by the referee there. I mean, anything but what he did there, Broadhead. He sort of flicked the header on, expecting someone to be next to him. And no one was there. He's just flicked straight into the feet of Alien, who's just hoofed it clear. And Should be aiming goalward from that distance, absolutely. Nathan Broadhead, formerly of Ipswich Town. I think he was with that team when they won promotion to the Premier League, not last season, but the time before that. The cross comes in. It's initially cleared, but only as far as a player in red. So you can't disagree that Borough have been bright of the two. Great through ball by Ayling, and the shot comes, but it's straight at Ward in the end. Not great by Lancashire there. And the intensity being demonstrated at the moment by... I don't understand why Nathan Broadhead has dropped so deep, to be honest. He had to sort of almost come and help out his goalkeeper. Let your defenders do that, mate. You go up top. And Wrexham has somehow come away with this. There's a lot of players around them, and suddenly Borough having to all rush back into defence. The cross comes across the face of goal. I think Damien Imre could have maybe done a bit better to get there. It was all done very quickly, mind. I think Borough's keeper is very lucky there. Doyle with a pitch-perfect cross, but it just sort of ghosts. It is Danny Imre, who I must say, has been converted into more of a right midfielder than a right wing back that he was during his time with Bromley. And Borough ball coming up forward, can't quite find the head of Lancashire. It comes out though to Morgan Whittaker, who keeps the ball. Oh, he's dispossessed now. He almost had it great, but he did a bit too much, and Matty James snuffed it out. But yet again, poor in defence from Wrexham as they keep on. It's one of the things every single time they're fighting back. It was Castledine this time who won the ball back, and Wrexham has just been penned in at the moment. It's only about 16 minutes in. And I'm already telling you now it's not ending goalless. Now, predictions was a 1-1 draw earlier. If you want to watch them, do feel free. They're up on the channel. They've got all the EFL Cup, FA Cup action this week, and the UEFA Super Cup, and the opening day of the National League North-South on there. So, if you are a fan of one of these particular teams, let me know. Do you value this competition? Would you like to go far in it? I think everybody's got to be saying, surely, that whatever competition you're in, you just want to win the game in front of you, and it just provides that confidence. So, Ward going short and gets the return there. He now opts to pump long. He just goes out for a throw in. His distribution, I just don't think it's where it's at. And Britain does take it quickly back to Ayling, former Leeds United player for many a year. He loves a good top-end Yorkshire side, doesn't he? And there's such a chemistry between Britain and Ayling. Ayling's just found a great run if he can get there. Great defensive header. Now Imre is forced around, and actually I think maybe Sarmiento should have done a bit better there. As he had Castledine and Sarmiento both around in. It will be a Wrexham throw. A long throw, almost to the halfway line. And it's gone all the way back to Bryn in goal. I'm trying to think which nationality Bryn's from. Is it Denmark? I think something like Denmark. He's a national team goalkeeper, Sol Bryn. I know he is. Or is he not? He's actually from Middlesbrough. He came through their academy. Fair play. He was on loan with Leyton Orient in 23-24. That time he reached the playoffs and has since sort of made himself a well-known player. could have sworn with a player like Bryn as a name. He may have thought he would have been Scandinavian of some sort. I mean, we could say that Teesside is further enough north to be Scandinavian. And this is a great opportunity. Sarmiento can't quite get there, and it's the side netting. Claiming he was pulled down. I don't think there was much in there, to be honest, to be complaining about. I don't think you can really claim a penalty in that position. That would have been one of the softest penalties I've ever seen. It's a great distribution from Lancashire. But yeah, you can't go down for that. That's way too soft. That would have been the softest penalty I think I'd ever seen given if that got given. But Borough are searching and asking all the right questions at the moment. They just need to find a ball in the back of the net, which I think they will do at some point. I don't think Phil Parkinson's strategies have yet worked this game. You might see a formation change at least at half-time, if not earlier. And it's 4v4 at the moment, though. Wrexham are on the overload. Cross comes in, but it's easily dealt with by Bryn, who just rolls it effortlessly forward. And it will, a sliced interception there. That is a good interception, I will say. But 60% of the possession has been Borough's, 40% Wrexham. So a bit more, I think we can agree, in Borough's domination. Passes inside final third, 26 for Middlesbrough, only 10 for Wrexham. That will be the concern. They haven't been able to keep the ball in the area where it counts as Wrexham. And it's just flicked out for a throw-in. It's simple things. Simple things like that. Now, that doesn't, it was never a penalty, right? If you're claiming the penalty from that, then you're either a deluded Borough fan or you just deluded full stop, because that was never a penalty. I'll turn the light on at half-time. I know it's a bit dark. Where the ball is blocked, it'll be a throw-in. I thought Britain was going to launch it downfield, but it's bodies on the line sort of thing. I think it was Matty James, potentially. So Callum Britton to take this throw-in. Goes defensively to Ayling. Ever an anchor in that defensive third, really, Ayling. He doesn't really like possessing the ball in the attacking forward. I mean, his ball just finds Thomason. It's not great. Thomason almost slips back to make it a back four at times in defence. I think then wingers sort of are relied to be sort of a back five out of possession. And some lovely movements, but doesn't come off to anything. It just ends up with Neto Borges in the defensive area for Borough. The cross comes in, but it's gone past everyone as Britain's cross, and it will go out for a throw-in. Not quite the desired effect. All of the Borough players are out warming up, by the way. I think these Borough fans are looking quite glum at the moment. Normally they're quite chipper, Borough fans, from the ones I've come across. Sarmiento's battling and winning. Oh, he hasn't won. Vineyard's managed to get his team a throw-in. Danny Emery, I think it is, launching the ball forward. Britain, I would love to see his heat map. He is absolutely everywhere. Because at the moment, it's sort of... Well, that's a great sliding in tackle. Okay, we're back with the lineups from SoScore. For some reason, it won't come up earlier. I've found them back up again now. So far, Luke Emery and Danny Ward, and actually it's Berhalter is the one who's been recommended as the best. I'm not sure about that one. I think I agree with Luke Ayling and Danny Ward, but certainly not Berhalter. Don't think he's done a lot. Britain. who found it again. Wonderful laid off ball. He'll get the seconds. Oh, Sarmiento, man. Is it Sarmiento? No, it was Castledine. I mean, it's just taking too many touches. Run it out of play. A lot of runs being made by Borough. It's hard to say that they shouldn't have got a goal at this point. The thing is, the longer it drags on as a goalless draw, I think you're just more likely edge into Wrexham to be able to change the strategy and find something that works. At the moment, I wouldn't say they've done a lot in that regard. I think it's mainly been a Doyle cross that has been the most threatening thing so far. Talking about Doyle, he's received it now. Callum Doyle. I think he played for Coventry. I know Ben Sheaf, who's not in the matchday squad, did at one point, who plays for Wrexham, and Danny Imre has surely been fouled there. He's gone tumbling off the pitch, by the way. It's not far off the pitch into the dugouts there. There's nothing to stop. No advertising hoardings in front of that area. And so it just would have rolled into the tunnel if he carried on rolling. So probably not the best idea to do that. Ayling with the ball forward. Always looking up. Always flying with a forward ball. That will surely be a free kick. No, says the ref. I was equally a bit perplexed by that one. I thought that was a bit of a push in there. And so at the moment, another poor ball by Wrexham in defence, which has seen Castledine come away with it. One of the couple of attacking midfielders they have, him and Berhalter. Luke Ayling out wide to Berhalter now, who seems to have taken up a width a bit more. Finding great joy on this near side, I think, is the thing. And I think Whittaker's moved slightly in field. Let's again, Ayling and Britton linking up well. Berhalter. Back to Ayling. Ayling with a cross coming in. It's headed away initially, but that'll be a throw-in. It's a wonderful flicked one ball, but Vinya was one which received it, not a man in red. I must say, Ayling has proven to me that I think he still has capabilities of being in the Premier League. And he may well be with Borough next season. I mean, he is their captain after all. You just doubt that they'd drop him if they get to the Prem. And sliced by Danny Ward. He has found a man in the away kit colours. I have a disagreement whether that's black or whether it's navy in the comment section. No. Attack is on. Morgan Whittaker, who's sort of got a bit more quiet, has now got the ball. Mamala giving it out to Britton. Broadhead's done poor there. He's just been caught in possession. He regained the ball and then he just fell asleep. He has it again now. Britain's physicality bundling him out, and that will be a free kick, apparently. I think a little bit too physical in the barge, maybe from Britain, but he is a strong physical player. It's physical for Championship. It's not, horrible physicality, but it is a degree of physicality. It's in the Wrexham zone half. Take it from where it was actually taken from, I think. All the way out wide back there. Doyle to take the free kick. He goes back to Danny Ward, who launches the ball downfield. I'll be amazed. And Ayling deals with that comfortably. Goes all the way back to the Bryn in goal. The Bryn wall. I'm sorry. That was horrific. Right, Alien has it now on the edge of his own D, and he launches another great ball forward if he can find him, and finds his run indeed. What a ball out to Castledine. Can't quite get across, but we'll get a corner. It's good work there. Dom High and the captain putting in the defensive shift. But what a ball by Luke Ayling. Perfectly weighted, found his man. It was a great long searching ball forward, and that sort of thing, that quality that Borough possess, and particularly that man Luke Ayling possess. Yes. And the corner comes in, goes past everyone. You're not going to get a penalty there, mate. And a quick counter-attack is on then. Doyle's having to do most of the running by himself. Bit of a loose ball, but it does eventually find Danny Imray, who gives it to Nathan Broadhead. And on the counter-attack, basically, it's Wrexham now, but they don't fancy this. I'm telling you now, they don't fancy it. In that position, they could have just carried on going, but they've decided to go back into themselves, and that's the difference. That's the margins. And that's why I think Borough will win this. It's half an hour in, it's 0-0, but I think Borough have definitely looked the brighter of the two teams. Wrexham are just playing negative football. They're always going back. Doyle's been pretty much their only bright spark at the moment. And at least he's trying to get forward and apply some crosses and some pressure. 49% of possessions being in midfield, 14% in Borough's half, and 37% in Wrexham's half. I mean, this is slightly changing. A cross comes in, but again, well dealt with Borough. The seconds come in, and there'll be a third opportunity. No, there will not. Offside. And for Sam Smith. It's been very quiet this game. I think he used to be with Sheffield Wednesday for a long time, Sam Smith, if I remember. Was it Sam Smith with Wednesday? I can't remember actually now. You could make the argument that Doyle pushing over Ayling could have been given as a penalty, but I think that's a bit more of a solid call, and it still wasn't given. I think there's a certain element you just need to stay on your feet. You're not going to get VAR as well to review this because it's obviously in the Championship. Is that a handball? Took a weird deflection. It's going to be a throw in for Wrexham. It looked like it hit the arm, though. Wrexham take the throw very defensive. In that position at the halfway line, in what role do you go all the way back to your defenders? Thomason, time progressed the ball forward. Wrexham are so far been so defensive playing, and Borough have managed to capitalise on this. Lancashire, again, too much, and Wrexham will slice it out and try and hit on the counter. They're always getting crowded back. Borough are so quick to transition from attack to defence. O'Brien, so difficult to break down. Doyle. O'Brien coming round. Thomason. Doing your fancy triangles just ain't going to work. And yet again, Borough are back in shape to deny any opportunity for Wrexham to come. Press them out of possession, get into a solid block, and then in attack, just power through. It's a formidable combination. It's not really a personnel thing. It's very much tactic things. I think Hegem gets this bang on. Not Hegem, Hellberg gets this bang on every single time. Aylin. Going with a lateral switch for a change. There's some work on the wings to do here. Sarmiento stops to go deep, and that ball is lifted far too much pace on that for Malanda. Probably been maybe in Borough's weak spot for me, Malanda. I don't think he's really gotten in the game yet. Danny Ward to take this goal kick. Lifted downfield. It's headed by Borough. Yet again, it was Malanda who won that one. And we're talking about possession a lot and in Spain in the World Cup, during that World Cup period. When you talk about possession, it wins games sometimes, especially at this level. Did that come off Danny Emery? It did. Sarmiento will take the throw in. I really don't see Wrexham being a Premier League team anytime soon, you know. It's actually my first time watching Wrexham. I don't normally get on board with the hype. Whittaker. Sharp feet, gives it to Malanda, who goes forward. Britton gets it. Cross comes in. It's headed clear initially, only as far as Aylin. Yet again, a bright spark, Berhalter. Whittaker working with Malanda. It goes back to Berhalter. That's a wonderful little triangle they've got going on there. Was he pulled down in the box there? Quite possibly. Lancashire. Some intensity by Arston there. I don't think Arston's done that much of this game, but I think when you look as a whole, that will be a free kick. I just look in the whole how these squads have been. I think Smith is lucky to get a free kick there. I think he's very lucky to get that, because I don't think there was much in it, to be honest. I think he made more of a meal out of it than it actually was. I'm going to find out. He definitely was at Reading, wasn't he? Yeah, he was at Reading. That was it. I was thinking of a different Smith, which is a lot of. Britton does have to defend here, and he does. Wonderful work by Wrexham now to try and reapply some pizzazz onto this game, which they've lacked so far. But it's just the shape of Borough so hard to break down. A wonderful sliding tackle in by Arston to give it a free kick, a throw in. I wonder what is going to go through the minds of Hellberg. I think he'll probably be impressed with the performance, but maybe want a bit more shooting. It's a key word. You've got the build-up play right. Don't think Lancashire is necessarily impressed. Oh, there's a counter-attack on now. Broadhead is running, lays it off. Great save by Bryn. No Cyrus incoming. That's a ridiculous effort. But Bryn, first time calling into action. It was a Thompson long shot. Okay, I've seen that the entire of this side of the camera has got no fans in. I think he could have been marginally offside there, you know. But Nathan Broadhead doing all the hard work, laying it on a plate, and then Oh, well, the rest is it for Smith. Didn't scare it gold at all. I think Smith was offside. I don't know why both Borough and Villa have recently gone from their shields to their circles in their badges. Well, wonderful work again by Broadhead, but it's smothered out. But the second ball comes in, it's just dragged wide. Oh, Rathbone was so close to making it 1-0 there. It was centimetres away. Wrexham has come alive in the last 5 minutes. And we need to be alert for this, Borough. So, a corner kick will be a goal kick, rather. A long ball forwards, looking for Lancashire. It doesn't quite find him, but Ricochet has managed to find. I've really wanted to say he was going to get there, Castledine, but he just didn't. He kept on looking like he might have done. And actually, it's going to be a throw in for Borough. The referee's getting a lot of words spoken to him by Lancashire. Don't think he's been great in this game, though. Ayling through the middle, who's now gone out to Britton, who lifts the ball across. It's headed in. It's just over the crossbar by Lancashire. Inches over. Again, another wonderfully lifted ball by Britton. Can't quite keep their header on target. He's done everything right. Absolutely everything. It's just gone over. Wasn't a bad effort. I'll give him credit for that. And Borough winning all the second balls here. Saying that is not great, but some can't hold on to the ball themselves and giving away a free kick in the process as Imre. Really bulked up, by the way, since last time I saw him play. Quite wiry and thin and less physical, and now he's really bulked up. He's clearly hit the gym sessions quite a bit recently. I mean, a real physical player. Reminds me of someone who used to play for West Ham, but I can't think of who now. Can't think of the West Ham player I'm thinking of. Completely lost it. It was someone who played for West Ham. Let me know in the comments if you can think of it. I've completely drawn blank. Long ball forward. Found Smith, but Ayling has managed to win that defensive duel yet again. Bryn needs to be careful here because he's being applied a mighty amount of pressure and given away a throw-in. I think no. For some reason, Doyle kept it in play, which is probably the worst of the two options. And a free kick will be given in the centre circle and a yellow card awarded for O'Brien. Can't complain too much. It was a tackle from behind. Lancashire had it, and it was just no attempt to play the ball at all. It's just gone straight for the player. No intent for the ball there. So Lewis O'Brien, the first man in the book for either of these two clubs. I don't know if there was presumably one in the game last night. Or maybe even been some in the ones already. We'll talk a little bit about the other games going on and give the score updates for that as well. Morgan Whittaker, all at half time. A long ball downfield, but can't quite find the target. And ultimately, at the moment, I think this game is petering out for a draw at half-time, if I'm going to be honest, which is only a couple of minutes away now. I'll turn the light on at half-time, by the way, if you're wondering if why I'm going to still be set in darkness. Hopefully not. Can very much tell the difference. When it was World Cup, I could watch this entire game in light. It's all lifted at also the difference between Newcastle and Nottingham. There's about half an hour extra light in Newcastle over the summer period. Headed away for a throw-in, or more of a deflection, rather, I suppose. In the Carabao Cup. Been sponsored for quite a while now, Carabao, aren't they? Of the League Cup. Long throw that's initially dealt with. Quite interesting. I think there's a lot of people who've been suggesting things such as making this a pre-season tournament, or certainly a sort of not during the main season, maybe removing the European price from it, but I think that just disincentivized the clubs even more from it. But I think it was quite interesting. My dad suggested this, that you get a grand total of 8 regions. So you get the North East, the North West, Yorkshire, West Midlands, East Midlands, South West, South East, London, and East Anglia, roughly. So you divide the teams into them regions. It doesn't have to be precise. And then the winner, they all enter into a sort of league stage, like the EFL trophy. Winner of each then go into a drawing knockout competition. And then the teams that finish second place enter into an alternative competition for the EFL trophy. So there's still like games to go around. So all the ones who don't make it through the group stage have a chance to win the EFL trophy instead. So that'd be an interesting suggestion. I'll be willing to hear yours in the comment section down below or in the live feed. It is now half time. The whistle has just blown. Let's turn that light on. There we go. You finally can see you're no longer in darkness. I'm no longer in darkness. Shall we just have a look at the scores right now? Half-time, 3-0 up to Wolves. I did predict it to end 3-0. I suspect Wolves maybe bring up off a few of their players now and just content to see out the game. As it is 1-1 between Wickham and Stevenage at the moment, and obviously 0-0 here. All at half times. Rangers lost 2-1 yesterday in the Europa League qualifiers, by the way. And Hartlepool Midlothian lost 6-1 to Benfica, although I think that's slightly less embarrassing than a result against Jagiellona. HGK drew 1-1 with Motherwell in that qualifier. It's a two-legged affair, isn't it, at this point? And Hibernian beat Shkedinja 2-1. And obviously Warsaw beat Bristol City 1-0 in the competition. Let's go and run through the SofaScore ratings for this game. Bryn on a 6.6. I think when called into action, he made a phenomenal save, but that's all he's really had to do so far, Solomon Bryn. So, yeah, I think Sol Bryn, decent enough. I wouldn't have too much complaints about that if I was the Borough manager. Arfston on a 6.8. He's won 6 out of 10 ground duels. I must say, that is an impressive amount of ground duels won for one half of football. We've dribbled past once. I think he's been reliable. I don't think he's been bad. So but I don't think he's been like a world beater. It's very hard as a defender to be a world beater. Neto Bill shares on a 6.8 so far. Slightly above average, maybe in all criteria. It was also a dribble pass once, but that does happen at this time. 7.5 for Luke Ayling. What a player he's been so far. Absolutely amazing. Has had 5 recoveries, 3 clearances, and 1-1 tackle. He did have an error leading to shot, but I think you also got to consider his passing has been pitch perfect some of the time. And even when it hasn't, it has, always been an aspirational good one. He's had 1 key pass. I think he's almost been sort of that link between the two. And actually, you take away the stats and you look at how he's played on the eye, he has looked the part to me. He looked at the best player, or one of the best players on the pitch. 7.2 for Callum Britton. Also, I can't believe that Wrexham was 6.92 compared to Borough on a 6.73. Shows how much they, overinflate the fact that if you don't score, then the attackers get rated lower, and I'll come to that later. 7.2 for Callum Britton. I think defensively he's not really had a lot to do, but in terms of his passing arrangements, again, another wonderful player to watch. He's had 1 key pass, 1 out of 2 crosses, found the target. I just think he's been sort of a great player to have as an asset on the ball, and always looks to go forward while in a wide position. He always goes forward. Every single one of his passes, very few are negative. There's a couple of side to side, but they're always looking to progress the ball into a more dangerous position. 6.1 for Melenda. I don't understand why he's rated that low, to be honest. He had 1 shot which was saved straight at the goalkeeper, considered a big chance missed on the 7th minute. That should not reflect him on a 6.1 when he's a holding midfielder, right? That shouldn't reflect like that. And Sarmiento is also on a 6.1 for a bit of a similar reason, to be honest. He missed a shot which went just wide, inches wide, we're talking. And he also, maybe dribbling terms, he's tried a bit too much and has kept hold of the ball more than he wanted to. Had only 14 touches the ball on 3 carries and lost possession 6 times. So I somewhat get it. You want a bit more from your winger. But I just can't help but think, for me, that it needs to be something about, Stephen Fletcher's on it. Interesting. So, yeah, I can understand that one. 6.4 for Castellini. His effort's been there, but I think maybe a bit of quality has been lacking. I don't think he's gotten anywhere near enough on the ball for me at the moment. Consistently keeping the ball as well. 7.5 for Berhalter, who's been absolutely phenomenal in the past. Apparently, 1 big chance created, 1 key pass with 1 out of 6 crosses accurate. He hasn't had the ball a lot, but when he has had it, it's been important stuff has been done. 6.5 for Morgan Whittaker. I think he faded throughout the half, if I'm going to be honest. I think opening 10-15 minutes, he looked really bright. And then he just sort of faded away and wasn't really involved. And sort of towards the end, I think Wrexham were looking more likely to score in that spell. I think that's because Morgan Whittaker just wasn't that option. Will Lancashire had 2 shots. 1 was on target and 1 was missed. He had that header which just glanced over the bar, and also a save, I think it was from point blank range pretty much, up against Danny Ward. So he's yet to find the score sheet. I think all of these ratings for Borough have been a little bit low for me, I liking. I think in terms of, there's definitely been more chances for Borough than Wrexham. But Wrexham have improved throughout the period. Danny Ward on a 7.3. I did criticise him a lot, maybe wrongly, because so far he's kept a clean sheet when his back's been against the wall. He's made a couple of saves, and he's done what you needed to do. His distribution still, I think, has a bit of question marks over it. 7.4 for Viner. Defensively, you can't really complain. He's had 3 out of 3 ground tools. One, he had a last man tackle as well. 1 recovery, 2 clearances. So when he's needed to, he's done it. I think I'd like to see him slightly further up the pitch because at the present he's a bit too deep for me. 7.3 for Dominic Hyam. Proper assured display. 6 clearances, 1 2 out of 2 ground duels. 1 aerial duel, 3 recoveries. Has been, not necessarily easy to get past. I think you can't really criticise Wrexham's defence, and the 7.5 for Callum Doyle. He's been the playmaker as well as the defender. And I think we need to be talking more about him as that sort of player who always tries to progress the ball forward where possible. He created 3 big chances and had 3 key passes and had 2 accurate crosses. From that aspect, he has been well and truly shoulders above everyone else this game. And he's been their creator. He's been someone that I've rated very highly and could be on track to get man of the match. 6.8 for Danny Imre. I think he's been frustrating at times to see with sometimes quite negative football. I was big giving up, given the big, how great he is. He had that 1 shot which was dragged well wide. And I just think I wanted him to do better because I really did rate him at Bromley, and I do think there's a good player in there. 6.1 for Rathbone, just been absent, and what he has done has been pretty dire. He had that couple of shots he missed very high to both sides when he was in prime positions to score and really should have scored as well. And I know his job's not necessarily to do that, but, trying to progress the ball forward as well. He's had 21 touches and lost possession 4 times. I only had 4 carries with the ball. I want him to get on the ball and power up the pitch as one of your midfielders. If you're calling someone a box-to-box midfielder, I know it's a bit of an old-fashioned terminology nowadays. He's just not been that. 6.8 for Matty James. He's just sort of been holding that central midfield role, basically occupying permanently the centre circle. Well, he's tried to be the Rodri, and he's done all right, but I just don't think that the players around him have helped him, to be honest. Lewis O'Brien is 6.7. Tends to be a bit more about box-to-box. I will say that. Often drifting out wide to help out Thomason when he's slipping back in a more defensive line. May almost become a 4-4-2 at times out of possession. So I don't think he's been a bad player. I just think could maybe see him make a bit more forward runs as well. He sort of holds back his runs at times. I obviously got the only yellow card of the game. 6.7 for George Thomason. A fair few sort of infield passes. Can't complain too much about that. Had 2 accurate long balls. I think, a solid display and all from Thomason. I don't think it's anything to write home about. 6.3 for Sam Smith, and I think we do have to complain a bit about his ability. His 1 shot was saved when he really should have scored. It might have been offside at one point as well, but there was a big chance missed in there, and that counter-attack really should have been buried by Sam Smith, because Nathan Broadhead, who we'll come on to now, 7.1, did all the hard work and has put the hard yards in. He had 1 shot which was missed, but I think, he has carried 109.6 meters of the ball, 11 different carries, 2 of them progressive. That's progressive ball 53.3 meters. And I think when you look at that, it's the game of him which is just going up and progressing that ball forward. So let me know how you think this end is going to go in. I'm going to go 1-1 draw as I went with my predictions. Could well end up in a penalty shootout. I don't think that's necessarily way off the mark, to be honest. I think what I'm looking at here is a team that is, maybe, still got that sort of bit, which is just a bit still that pre-season mentality. Maybe I've got to go with Borough to win on penalties if it does go to penalties. So I think we've seen Sam Smith is very low on confidence at the moment, so maybe they'd even bring him off. But I don't think they've got Kiefer Moore on the bench actually. We were talking about players on the bench. Some of the key players to potentially come on. Kayla Dunn. Keith Moore is on the bench, actually. I do stand corrected. I could see him coming on in this second half then. Ben Whiteman to... The changes I would make if I was Wrexham, because we have so many, I'd bring probably Rathbone off for Ben Whiteman. I would probably bring Smith off for Kiefer Moore. And just see how that plays out for then. With the option of bringing on Kayla Dunn as maybe a wide player at some point if they need to switch things up. Derby are playing Lincoln City tomorrow, so I'll be hoping that Derby win that. I'm actually going to an FA Cup game instead down in Leicester Nirvana versus Long Eaton United. In terms of switches for maybe Borough, Kyle Joseph could be an option coming on for Castledean, I think, or Sarmiento, and put it for more of a top two, or maybe a 4-2-3-1, and having him as more of a deep lying one, and Castledean coming off there. I think it's hard to say, really. I don't think they've got the strongest bench in the world. It was an interesting decision. I don't know why they've gone for a weaker bench. All of their first teamers don't seem to be playing for Middlesbrough today. I don't know. I just don't really know why they've not really got as much. Is Ryan McGree injured? Because McGree normally is, a key opponent. Same with Aidan Morris and Tommy Conway. They're all not in the 11. Or even on the bench. That's so odd. Strelec as well, I think they signed him this last transfer window. He scored 8 goals in this season. I don't think necessarily Slovakian international is the best, and I don't think we see the best of him by any stretch, but we've got to see something. Tommy Conway, though, the fact that he's not on, he's one of the best players for Borough, which might make you consider, is he going to be moving out? That is a slight concern. Will Lancashire, their new signing, scored 11 goals last season with Oxford United on loan from Spurs. Very highly rated player. Aidan Morris also not in the squad. A little bit of a surprise to see that as well. So yeah, I think they've left the sort of some of the bigger guns out the starting 11 and not even on the bench. So interesting. I'm going to see if they're going to make any changes at halftime. Both teams will come out. Does Phil Parkinson stay at Wrexham until the end of the season? That's one question is on my lips, to be honest. If they don't achieve, look likely that they're going to get into the playoffs, could be a bit worried for his job. I just don't think Wrexham necessarily impressed today. And long ball forward at the Riverside Stadium, starting early for Borough. And let's see how this will change in this half. Too strong a challenge by Luke Ayling to start the half off. A little bit of a laugh between him and his coaching staff, as he was impeded from it. It was literally right next to the his own dugout there, so having a bit of a laugh. So, Bryn in goal for Borough. A back four of Britton, Ayling, Melander has been shifted into the defensive position, interestingly. and Arsenal has come off at half time, is it? I need to see what they've done here. No, because Arsenal's, they seem to have changed formation. Either that, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if they've. I don't agree with what ITV have put on their formation there. And they've also put Wrexham as playing a 3-4-2-1. No, a 3-4-2-1. Okay. We'll have to figure it out if that's what they've done. But Wrexham are coming on the attack. Cross comes in. It's blocked initially. They do seem right because Melande was there in the defensive area to cover that. And block comes in, but I think at the moment, yeah, I can definitely see Melanda have moved back for Borough as a centre back. I doubt they're playing back five. Is Borges move forward a bit? No, because I think that's Borges now. I think Melanda just drops sometimes a bit deeper. Alien progressing the ball forward, and it's out on the right-hand side. It's snuffed out by Wrexham, but that's poor. Straight into the path of Lancashire, who's lifted it, and it's over the crossbar. He should be hitting the target there. And he's angry with himself, I think. You know, I'd be disappointed. The shot was well lined up. He had plenty of opportunity. He just needed to pick his spot, and he didn't. Ultimately, and the goal kick is actually it's going to be offside. I'm liking what I'm seeing though. It's much more attacking based football. I think, was it Thomason who was that furthest man forward? Surely not. So Sarmiento laying off defensively to Luke Alien, who's just been everywhere today. Another lifted ball forward, but this one's headed away. So only gone as far as a Middlesbrough defender. Lifted up, but it's dealt with again, not necessarily the most convincingly. And Borough have worked hard to get the goal back here. They just keep every single second opportunity. The ball comes back to them. Alien. Lamba seems to be just in a bit of a roaming position. I'm not really sure where he's meant to be playing in this game. He gets it now, hooks it out, and go all the way to Sarmiento. Lifted ball, headed away, headed back in the mixer, but there's no one there. It's all well and good doing that, mate, Arston, but I just don't think there was anything on for you. Danny Emery with a throw. You know, there's an attitude problem right there with Rathbone. He didn't want that ball and just let it run through. There's an attitude problem. I can smell it a mile off. That'll be a throw-in. Nathan Broadhead can't quite keep it in. You know, some of these players have got to try and think this is an opportunity to get into the starting 11 and nail your colours in. You know, particularly the likes of Nathan Broadhead. You know, he's not likely to start many games this season, but will probably be an impact sub. You know, and at the moment, I can't think of any of these Wrexham players which are likely to ensure their name on the team sheet. Danny Ward will probably be one. Lovely interception by Rathbone, was it? It was O'Brien. Bit of physicality. And Wrexham are coming. Lifted ball, that's way too much on it. What is the purpose of Malamba? Like, what is his purpose? He is just wanderingly, aimlessly around the pitch. Same with Arthurstone. He's just sort of there and not really doing a lot. You can't have passengers in the game. That's a poor ball forward. It's just snapped out. But yet again, Wrexham a bit lucky to get the return that time, but the court sleeping in possession far, far, far too often. I'm going to say that. They're very much caught in possession a lot. All the way back in the defensive position with Wrexham. It's actually gone all the way back to Ward, who launches it downfield. The header is flicked on initially by Broadhead, but there's no one there. It's not the firecracker of a game, which I think many people thought, but I don't think anyone. I don't think I expected it to be so, to be honest. Arliston. Come on, Malamba. Do something more positive with the ball than that. You can't just keep on passing it back. He's just so desperately needs to come off for me. He's not impacting the game at all. A lovely ball forward there. Lancashire comes across. It's going to be a corner. Doyle, it is yet again. He's putting his body on the line. I'm reluctant to say it, but I think Lancashire is a bit overrated. Came through Spurs Academy, made 3 Premier League appearances as well. Tipped away by Ward into his own hands, actually. He's managed to do well to gain that. He's bowled it almost over half the pitch there. But Danny Imre can't quite keep it under control. And it's Sarmiento who, wonderful footwork to get past his player there. Sarmiento with an amazing run, and we know he has that. He just doesn't show it enough. Whittaker, that cross can't quite come in. Come on, get the seconds there. It's Britton who's coming to pick it up. Or was that Barlester? A long-range speculative shot, and it goes well wide by Whittaker. In my days, that was... If it had a bit of bend on that, it could have seen the net bulge, but alas, it had no bend and just went out. He blows hot and cold, Whittaker. I've said that since he came through Derby's academy. When he made his debut, not necessarily when he made his debut, but when he made his debut season with Derby, I thought he's not a consistent player, and he's just not been. He hasn't consistently performed at any of the clubs. I think maybe Plymouth he's performed most consistently, but I think he still even then had spells where he just wasn't where it was at. I think he was with Swansea as well, and he had a bout of inconsistency there. He typically scores against Derby, don't get me wrong, whenever he comes to Pride Park. Oh my days, Bryn, you need to be careful there. Smith is trying to claim that he's being pulled down. I think he's been booked for diving. Well, let's see. It's a wonderful ball by Doyle. Yeah, he's dived. He's absolutely dived. Well done, referee. He's dived. That is disgusting. You are a cheat, Sam Smith. You are a cheat and a scumbag. You cannot claim a penalty when you've not even been touched. Well done to that referee. I don't know who it is today. Will Finney. deserved booking. You know, stuff like that should be completely taken out of the game. You saw Brink come out very far out and come to try and claim the ball. Didn't make any contact with him, missed the ball as well. He went down, solid metre away from it, looking for a penalty, and been touched. We can all see you. You're on the cameras. You know, we may not have VAR at this particular stage in proceedings, but it is what it is. Wrexham, though, have beginning to grow into this half now. It was basically all Borough to begin with, but not so much anymore. The ball lifted over, could not quite find the intended target by Rathbone. He looks also shattered. It's the start of the season, mate. Wonderful work by Arthurson. Comes back to Arthurson now. Cross comes in, can't quite find the intended target, but Borough have got it on a rebound. You're in plenty of space there, mate. You're taking, should have maybe taken the shot. Cross comes in and the deflection goes behind. Well, there's a look of sheer disbelief on the face of Castledine. I don't know what necessarily happened there. There was much involved there, to be honest. Well, there's a stamp, but it's an accidental stamp. It's well and truly an accident. He's just trying to play the ball. He's been a bit tricksy with his footwork and accidentally stamped on the player. It was not malicious. Nothing malicious about it. But unfortunately, it will be a free kick. Danny Ward pumping the ball forward. Can't find a Wrexham player. And Borough will open them up on the counter now. Maybe not the best option with that pass, though. And all the sting taken out of it. I won't be watching Middlesbrough versus West Brom, for those who are wondering, because it's on the bank holiday weekend. So I won't be here. I'll be elsewhere. It's sometimes that you do need a holiday from the constant relentlessness of the world. And the bank holidays are one of them. I think I'm having about a week off towards the end of August. So there'll also be no non-league show at that point. Whoa. Can't quite direct it goalwards, but it wasn't, it wasn't a bad ball forward. That wasn't the problem. Just couldn't quite get the shot right. Who was it who had that shot? I don't quite know who that was. I really don't know that. What was that? Ballholzer. Morgan Whittaker. Crossfield past to Arston. Some wonderful work there. If we can find the target. A wonderful, ambitious effort. Lancashire finds the goal. We have a breakthrough, an hour in. And what a goal as well, by the way. What a fantastic goal that was by Lancashire. We're giving him a bit of a stick this game, not necessarily had the best performance in the world, but you can't take away how fantastic that goal was. What a way to make your debut for Borough. It's a wonderful header, and it's almost an overhead kick. It's almost an overhead kick. It's a headed, pitch perfect. It's a pitch perfect header. I think it was someone like Berhalter who headed it towards Lancashire for his goal. So that was a fantastic moment of actual football. And that's just the difference. I mean, I've been saying it's been coming, and Wrexham are immediately applying pressure on the counter. And this is where they've suddenly decided to come alive. Danny Imre's cross, though, is not dealt with. I mean, I've been in sheer disbelief by goals before, notably Paul Dawson's from Macclesfield against Crystal Palace on the channel. But that, I mean, I've been saying it's been coming, but it's one of them ones that it's just a fantastic goal. You can't take away from it. That was almost exactly an hour in. So it's about half an hour worth of trying to see this game out now. But I think Wrexham will come with a bit of a fire in their bellies now they've gone behind. It was Berhalter with a header, by the way. That's a confirmation. And Wrexham going to have to try and get something back here because Borough is just going to slow the game right down. I don't know if there's any FA Cup games on today or whether it's mainly on tomorrow. I mean, there are some on today, but we don't get any updates of them on the BBC. So I'd have to be searching them off all individually, and I've not got time for that. We'll find them out later. Wrexham have it, and suddenly becoming dynamic. Look, they're finding spaces now, little pockets to occupy that they just weren't in the first half or first hour really. Danny Imre. I mean, I think there still needs to be some changes, don't get me wrong. I think Vina has been a much better player. With that, I think it's O'Brien down holding his ankle. Another ball forward by Doyle, and he's just been impeded. I mean, there's stone wall by Ayling in it. Ayling needs to be careful, isn't he? Oh no, he's not in the book. Middlesbrough have had 10 shots to Wrexham's 7. Maybe feel the game is a bit more even than it is, but it's to me definitely a free kick. 3 shots on target though for Middlesbrough, only 1 for Wrexham. So I think just based on momentum though, there will be a free kick here for Wrexham. It's a dangerous position as well. It's very much every possibility that this goes in. Doyle standing over it, and if Doyle scores, you know, he will deserve it. He has been the best player, I think, so far. Have they made a substitute? Longman has come on. Danny Imre's come off. And Ryan Longman is coming on with number 47. I mean, the free kick has just gone skied over. Ryan Longman scored 3 goals during his time with Wrexham, coming in 2025, having had a very good spell with both Wrexham and Millwall. He's a winger by trade or wing back. At the age of 25, coming through Brighton's academy. Someone who's not necessarily been on my radar much, but there's plenty of opportunity, you know, to make your name. You know, games like this, few and far between the action of this level that I actually watch anymore. I find myself more and more frequently inhabiting the grounds of non-league football. So actually knowing players tends to be a bit less. But another long lifted ball forward, looking for the runner Whittaker, and found a great ball that actually. Whittaker's cross comes in. Just needed someone in to turn that behind because that wasn't a bad cross. It was a good cross, you know. Thought someone at the back stick might get it. There's a corner. We don't know why there's a corner. We were busy watching a replay. Double substitution, though, for Middlesbrough before this corner will be taken. So, Jeremy Sarmiento and Max Arfston are coming off. Both of that makes sense to me. Neither of them had much of an impact on the game. And in their place comes on Kyle Joseph and George Edmondson. Kyle Joseph for his professional debut for Borough, having come from Hull City, where he scored 8 goals in 62 league appearances, joining Hull in the January window 24-25 from Blackpool. He's a bit of a roaming forward, but I think he's a very successful one in a certain style of play. I don't necessarily know if it's a Borough style of play, which is much more attacking minded and sort of switch of play, whereas Hollywood sort of looked to be quite a low block. Everyone is bouncing on their feet that area. It's so funny. It's like it's a bouncy castle going on. What are you doing? By the way, a lovely green pitch, which is not any of the conditions that is currently inhabiting the rest of our fields in England right now. Edmondson's not happy about something. Neither is Ayling. There'll be a second corner for Borough. Lifted up into the hands of Ward. It's about a quarter of a game left to go. Stop your shit hours, really, Lancashire. It's just not needed. Is a yellow card going to be brandished for that? Surely Lancashire is not getting a yellow for that. I mean, it's a massive bit of shithousery, but he has. That surprised me. Don't know if I've ever seen anyone book for that, but there you go. He's found himself in the referee's book. But he's on it now, Lancashire, and he's taking it first time, and I think it's, was it rattled the crossbar? He's looking for his brace. Fantastic run. Time to perfection. And no, it's just over. Maybe should have done better there. So 1-0, 70 minutes in. Borough aren't content to see this at 1-0. I think neither should they be. Wonderfully lifted ball just wide by Smith. Another wonderful ball, though. I think we've seen a lot of... If you like a good bit of midfield play, you will have seen some excellent football today. If you prefer to see goals or defensive masterpieces, it would not really be neither. I mean, Lancashire's goal was very, very pretty on the eye. But I must say, not necessarily my... well, not necessarily the typical nature of today's game. There's all players sort of interplaying at the moment. Whittaker's cross comes in, headed up in the air by Doyle. But it is still regained. And you know what? I think Carl Joseph is playing as a winger in this position. which is quite interesting because he has played as a right wing back before, so he does make sense of being a bit more of a wide player. A triple substitution underway for Wrexham as they look to roll the dice. Right, so Rathbone, Matty James, and Sam Smith are all coming off. All make sense to me. That is completely logical. Katamateri, Ben Whiteman, and Kiefer Moore are coming on. The big guns are coming on. Kiefer Moore is a player I rate very highly, although I think at the age of 33, he may be getting a bit beyond it now. But I've really loved Kiefer Moore as a player. His hold-up play has been immense, and I will always remember his time at Cardiff, some of the great goals he scored for them. So, Borges with a throw. I don't really see Borges take many throws. And, well, that's just a sloppy foul there. No need for that at all. Britain, the one which has been impeded. So, a one-man wall for Wrexham. It's about 35 yards out. About 35 yards out, I'd say. It'd be impressive if they scored directly from this, but non-league game I went to at San Diego Town, I did see a calamitous own goal from a similar distance, a long-range effort, and it's headed wide by Edmondson. Should do better with that header. Really should do, to be honest. I think he's just onside potentially, but should be getting that, and he's challenging the goalkeeper with it, which he's just not done. Sleeping in possession, Morgan Whittaker has regained it here. So many talented individuals on this pitch for the Borough that their class is just outshining at the moment Wrexham in a lot of ways, I would suggest. I think Wrexham at the moment just can't get a handle on the game. They can't keep possession. And I think that is the difficulty. 63% of possession for Middlesbrough in the second half alone. That's going to be a throw. 119 passes for Middlesbrough in the final third to 35 for Wrexham. What a stark performance. Long ball by Longman. You like that one? It was a long throw, rather. Maybe that's why he's known as Longman. He's got a long throw in his locker. Unfortunately, it was to his defence as opposed to launching it downfield, which I think would have been a bit more hopeful in that position. Can't quite switch the counter-attack on there, and it goes to Ward. And sees him just content to play it amongst his defenders at the moment. Long lifted ball forward. But at present, Longman has it. He opts to go back. I just think Wrexham just can't quite get a handle on this game. I'm going to say that now. In the other two games, they're about to end. Wolves are about to win 3-0. Wickham are about to draw with Stevenage, so we'll see who wins on that penalty shootout in that one. So that's looking like where it's quite destined to go. That going to be a throw-in. Thomason is telling everyone to get forward, but instead opts to go backwards. And that just gives Wrexham time to get back in from this position. The way you beat Borough rather, is you attack quickly. You take the opportunity of set pieces. Because I think set piece wise, It's a bit of our weakness. Viner, oh no, we're going to have a substitute first. And the final Wrexham substitute sees Nathan Broadhead come off, and in his place comes on Caleb Dunn. Now, Davis Caleb Dunn ripped it up in League One. I think it was with Barnsley and with Mansfield before. 23-24, he scored 28 goals in 68 appearances over 2 years with Mansfield, and moved to Barnsley and scored 31 goals in 66 appearances for Barnsley. There's been Barnsley Player of the year before, has been in the League One Team of the Year before. Not quite convinced at the moment that he's necessarily Championship quality, but hasn't also really been given a chance. I don't think Wrexham have given him much of an opportunity. Britain to take a throw-in. I think it is worth mentioning that some of the absolute ballers in League One just don't make that sort of step up to the Championship necessarily. And that's the first time we've seen that rule introduced, even in my non-league games. Too long for a throw-in for Borough, so it's been switched over to Wrexham to take the throw. One of them new rules that has been implemented in this season. So good to see it being implemented for now. Whether it's implemented across the whole season, I think these ones tend to be drifted away and forgotten about sooner rather than later, don't they? But yes, at present, Wrexham have just thrown everything in terms of personnel changes. So in terms of if there's any injuries or anything left in this final 12 minutes, I think they're in for a bit of a reckoning. That they might be under a lot of duress. Long ball forward trying to find Doyle, or finding Doyle rather, in the defensive position, that is. I don't think I made myself overly clear on that. Wrexham working hard down the right. Finally managing to keep hold of possession, but not really doing a lot with it. And at present, I just think we need to see an extra gear for Wrexham that I've not seen yet. I've seen it from a few players, but far too inconsistent at most of this team. But I think Borough are kind of content to let Wrexham have possession now. I think as long as it's not in too much of a threatening position, Longman flicking the ball on, headed back in the area, but there's no one there. Why would you consider to header that? It was Kadia Materi, a substitute for Middlesbrough, and Lancashire's debut has ended with a goal. So Q seeing his goal, which was a very impressive goal, that overhead kick into the bottom corner, opposite corner. It is a very good goal from the angle, and I think an impressive debut. Finlay Cartwright, there's my surname, comes on in. Well, he made a substitute appearance in the EFL Cup in 2023 at 16 years old and 161 days. He's only ever made one senior competitive match. That was one match, I think, for Finn Cartwright. He's only 19, though, from Redcar. A lot of things are expected of him. So, they've not made the substitute yet. They will be making that substitute. That's a bit confusing. Longman with it now. I wonder if he's going to be one of them ones which end up at Redcar Athletic on loan, potentially, before the window closes. Or even after the window closes, because in the National League North, or Northern Premier League, or non-league in general, you can get, a month or two loan. So he might find himself learning experience in the Northern Prem. I don't think that would be too bad for his development at that level. Cross comes in, but it's well defended by Borough. But Wrexham are beginning to ask the right questions that they were not asking throughout most of this game. And I think Viner has been key to that. I think Viner's performances has upped in the last 15 minutes. He's in plenty of space here, by the way. Tricky wing play, and you can see why these players are much more highly fancied. And now there will be the substitute. Cartwright comes on then. Looks so interesting. I can't remember if I've ever seen a player with my surname play a game before. So it's quite interesting seeing my surname on the back of one of the players' jerseys. Lifted corner then for Wrexham is headed behind. I think Bryn wasn't too sure about that. So there'll be another corner from the other side. Wrexham, as predicted, really, that they would start having a better second half duration. Longman has it here. You know, they're progressing the ball nicely, but at the moment, nothing really challenging the goal mouth. But Borough are getting deeper and deeper, and you can see Wrexham equaliser coming. I'm telling you now, that's a poor pass. And I mean, I don't know if Edmondson's a decent defence there. O'Brien maybe should have done a bit better. So a corner kick it is. The third in as many minutes. I could just see Wrexham scoring at this precise moment in time. A foul potentially to someone in a box, though. I think I wouldn't be overly particularly happy about that position in conceding a free kick if I'm Phil Parkinson, who just sees all that pressure disapparate. So, I mean, they are suddenly becoming up in the gears at the moment. Longman with it now. Oh, I just can't quite find the right person. Kayla Dunn was just not quite able to get there. I think Cartwright's first touch is left loose. So Longman, an opportunity. He had a long throw early, and I think this is a good position to show it. He didn't necessarily, but it wasn't a bad throw, and Wrexham have kept possession as a result of it. A lot of interesting interplay, I must say, between some of these players. On Borough could potentially break through. That would be a yellow card, surely. It is a last man tackle. Had to stop a counter attack, take one for the team. You know, you hate to see it, but it's part of the game. I mean, it wasn't a goal scoring opportunity, but it would have led to one, certainly. So, not too. That's called a professional foul by Dominic Hyam, and he ends himself up in the referee's book as a result of it. Can't be too complaints about it, but he's taken one for the team and stopped the opportunity. I think fair play for that. A great free kick, by the way. Why no one was marking Cartwright there? Cartwright, I think, has done really well in that position. The pass is intercepted by Edmondson, but it will be a throw-in. So it's 1-0 to Borough with about 5 minutes left. Long with a throw. But it's dealt with again by Cartwright. He's getting everywhere. You know, at 19 years old, he's going to be one of them players that should probably sooner rather than later be working his way into the men's senior game. If he's not going to find it at Borough, he should probably go out on loan. So Borough have got a good attack here now. Whittaker going forward. Great hold of play. Whittaker with a rebound, and it's saved, parried behind by Ward. A pivotal save by the Welshman. No way that that's a goal kick, is it? Should have been taken first time, to be honest, but there's no way that Whittaker's shot definitely took a deflection. It definitely rattled someone's thighs. That's odd. I mean, it matters very little for Middlesbrough. They have the lead. They just need to try and ensure they hold on to it. And I think we can all say, if Borough go through, we'll all be grateful, because Wrexham will be on TV for every single game they have, whether they deserve it or not, just because of their Hollywood owners. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. And it's going to be a throw-in for Borough in the attacking half. They're doing really some good football at the moment. Well, EFL, no, says the referee. Get up. We're entering into the closing stage of this game. I don't think there'll be much stoppage time, to be honest. I don't think there's been a great deal of injury time. There's been a few substitutions, but that's about it. And the thing is, I think we're going to see a resumption to some normal stoppage time nowadays with these new rules, because the time it takes for set plays and whatever will have been pretty much dissipated. Caleb Dunn, I think, has been probably the most impressive out of all the substitutes. I don't think Keith Moore's done much. Longman maybe in for a shout of it as well. Long ball forward. Does find Longman. Cheeky layoff there. Over number 47. Should have reconnected. Sorry about that. Stream went down. We reconnected. We're back. Apologies there. I just had to make sure that it reconnected. So we're into stoppage time. 3 minutes of it. Britain to take the throw in on the halfway line. And on to a long throw forward there, but doesn't find the intended target. And Wrexham have to do everything to try and get anything from this game. Long ball forward. Chested well down, but I mean, has Kiefer Moore done much since coming on? I'm going to have to start questioning that. It's going to be a free kick. Another yellow card being brandished. Who is it who's getting booked? Is it Doyle? Yes, Callum Doyle is now in his referee's book. A lot of yellows flying around. Didn't see initially really what happened. I don't know if we're going to see a replay. But it was presumably another halting of a counter-attack. Lifted ball forward. I mean, cynical dark arts of football, but you can only do it so much. But this is a great counter-attack opportunity. If he was on side for Kiefer Moore, he was not. And alas, it means that Rex can maybe breathe a sigh of release. He did look about a yard off, to be honest. And a fairly deep run. If Lancashire's being given man of the match, that is ridiculous. I'm telling you now, Lancashire does not deserve to be man of the match. Yeah, he scored the goal, right? So what? That was not man of the match worthy. And it's hard to pick out who's been the best person. Another substitution for Middlesbrough as Morgan Whittaker comes off. And in his place, Cruz Ebe. I'm guessing Cruz Ebe is another academy player. At the age of 17, has only ever made one appearance in the Championship and also one appearance in the FA Cup. And I think he actually did appear in the Championship playoff last season for Borough. So clearly highly rated. A player at the age of only 17 years old. You know, you do get good academy players, but it's certainly going to be sort of things where everyone's eyes are on the referee's whistle. A long hoofball forward by Borough. How long, ref? Ward gets there, and that is time. Borough with the 1-0 win. I mean, can't be too surprised about it, to be honest. Maybe a little bit of a damp squib of a game. It wasn't most interesting or entertaining. But in all honesty, these games sort of build as that very rarely are. So we're ending 1-0 to Middlesbrough and themselves one of the earlier teams to reach the hat. Let's look at the other scores on the doors. Stevenage left it very, very late in the 95th minute with Josh McGuinness to beat Wycombe Wanderers 2-1. It was a 3-0 triumphant win for Wolverhampton Wanderers, with Adam Armstrong opening scoring 14 minutes in. Lancashire was the only difference maker in this game, and they are your 3 games which occurred tonight in the EFL Cup. In terms of your overall ratings for people, we'll go through them now. Bryn on a 7.3, kept a clean sheet. That's what you paid to do. Made only a couple of saves, mind you, and then one successful run out and one high claim. But to be honest, the final third for Wrexham was abysmal. They couldn't get a control on the ball, and that is partly due to this incredible defence. A 7.3 for Arthurstone, who, 4 out of 5 tackles won, 8 out of 13 ground duels won. Imagine attempting 13 ground duels. Was dribbled past a couple of times, but defensively, very decent. Other than that, I think there was probably some better moments going forward that were more to be desired. Borges on a 7.1. I don't think he had a lot to do, to be honest, in this game. Again, it was more the sloppy nature of Wrexham than anything. A lot of mistakes. 7.3 for Luke Ayling. He was everywhere in his defensive half. Absolutely everywhere. An incredible heat map from him, by the way. And his passing has been one of them positions that I just think we're looking at it. And he's made a grand total of 7 clearances. He's had 8 recoveries, 1 out of 2 out of 6 ground duels, 3 out of 4 aerial duels. Did have an error leading shot, so be it. It happens. 1 key pass, 1 unsuccessful cross. But yeah, I think he's been overall a very decent player. Callum Britton on a 7.3, another solid performer, I will say that. His passing has got to be the highlight for me. Some of the spraying the balls forwards. He's had 2 out of 5 crosses accurate, had 1 key pass. But yeah, I think everything he's looked for what has been sort of aspirational in that moments and times like this. So 7.0 for Melenda, who apparently rapidly improved in the second half. I'm struggling to see it myself. I don't think he really got a control on the ball. I was struggling to see what it was offering, to be honest. They're on a 7.03 overall, Middlesbrough, compared to Wrexham on a 6.78. So they did adjust the game. A 6.6 for Sarmiento, who came off for Kyle Joseph. I think we can't really say he was the greatest player. He had one key pass, but you got to look at some of the aspects that he had. His shooting was poor in all. He missed with his one shot. His dribbling, he often was a bit aimless. He only had 32 touches. He shut out the game. He had 2 successful dribbles. It's not good enough. It's just flatly not good enough for me. 6.5 for Castledine. Where was he? He didn't even come off. Where was he in that second half? He completely fell off. Now, one key pass all game. His first half may have been bad, but it was even worse. Is the fact that he was just sort of fell asleep by the looks of it. 7.5 for Berhalter. 7.5, 7.6 sort of territory. Had 4 key passes, 2 big chances created, 1 out of 8 crosses accurate. And not all of his passes were great. But in terms of, the passes he did have, I think he was a fantastic player. One which you would want to have. And obviously had that assist with the headed ball to Lancashire. 7.0 for Morgan Whittaker. Hot and cold, but what I'll say, hot and cold. Had 7 crosses, none of them found the man, and should have been arguably much, much more influential. 7.4 for Lancashire with that wonderful overhead kick, which will be the talk of the town. But he had 5 shots in total and only 2 on target. I think a couple of times which have been hands in my head from Lancashire. But, for a debut, you can't blame him too much. And he was in the right positions, I suppose, as much as anything what we can be talking about in that position. Best substitutes, Edmondson on 6.6, Kyle Joseph on 6.8, Finley Cartwright on 6.6, and no rating for Cruzy Bay because it wasn't on for long enough on the pitch. But yeah, I just don't think there was enough time to really sing the praises of any of the substitutes, to be honest. And Kyle Joseph and Edmondson weren't the most impressive when they came on. Wrexham, 7.3 for Danny Ward. He had his work cut out for him. He made 2 saves and conceded, 3 saves. He's had 2 saves and 1 conceded from goal, wasn't it? I think he didn't have actually to do a lot. I think Middlesbrough also sort of weren't the most clinical in front of goal with the opportunities they had. We found that, in all 3 of the sort of playoff games, and they were lucky to get to the final because of the Southampton situation and the Spygate holds controversy. But I think Middlesbrough did lack a bit of clinicality. 7.7 for Viner, which they're given man of a match to on SofaScore. I'm struggled to think of who's man of match. He did have 3 recoveries, 3 ground rules, rule 1, and 1 last man tackle. And we are talking about, someone who also progressed the ball a lot. He had a total of 56 out of 60 passes accurate, 1 key pass. Was a bit of a vital man at times, but certainly wouldn't have done anything I would have expected to be considered man of the match worthy. 7.4 for Dom Hyam. He kept it quiet. He had 10 defensive contributions, 8 clearances, 3 out of 4 ground duels won, 2 out of 3 aerial duels won. I thought he was quite important in keeping it safe at the back. He nullified a lot of the threats from particularly Morgan Whittaker. So did Callum Doyle on a 7.5, who I think I'm going to have to say would be man of the match. 10 defensive contributions, 6 clearances, 1 6 recoveries, 4 out of 6 ground duels won as well. But also some impressive forward play as well. Some wonderful long lifted balls. 4 out of 8 balls were accurate. So clearly someone who's attempted it. 3 out of 5 crosses were accurate. 3 key passes and 3 big chances created. Callum Doyle for me is man of the match. And though Wrexham didn't score, and you don't normally go with a team that didn't win to be the man of the match, I just think that would probably have been the fairest person I could give it to. 6.5 for Danny Imre. I was expecting to see big things from him. You know, I loved his time at Bromley, but I must say he was disappointing me today. And I think we can probably move on from that. 6.2 for Rathbone. I think he had an attitude problem. I don't think he wants to be there. He had a couple of shots, and both were missed. And in the second half, a one key pass, but in the second half, he just didn't look bothered, didn't want to turn up. I'd be having serious questions with him. Why are you not turning up? You know, in the opening game of the season opener, and you're doing this and putting in that level of performance, you ain't starting, mate. 6.6 for Matty James. I just don't think he did much. I can't think of anything that Matty James did this game that was make me think, yeah, well, that's a different player. Nothing really for me I can really think about which impressed. 6.7 for Lewis O'Brien. Same can be said for him. Average, subpar, mediocre, mid, whatever you want to call it. It was a bit of all in midfield, and 6.6 for Thompson. I don't think there's anyone in Wrexham's midfield for me that stood out. There were 5 midfielders on play, and not one of them could actually progress the ball forward and hold up play. I feel sorry for the forwards, therefore. 6.2 for Sam Smith. I mean, the opportunities he had, he fluffed. He was offside twice, missed a big chance, and 3 shots, only 1 on target and 1 blocked. Not ideal. 7.3 for Broadhead. Actually tried to bring things forward. He had a couple of shots, none of which were on target. Missed a big chance, but you know, he at least was trying to progress forward the ball. He had the endeavour to get there, even if he didn't have the final end product. Ryan Longman on a 6.5. I thought he was probably upgrade for me on Imre, but maybe a little like for like. Ben Whiteman on a 6.6. Well, he didn't have the attitude problem in midfield, but again, I don't think overly changed the game. Kadamatari, similar situation, 6.5 for him. Kiefer Moore on a 6.5. I don't think he did a great deal. 6.4 for Kayla Dunn. Yeah, all of the substitutes didn't have the desired effect, I think, for Wrexham. Anyway, thank you very much for watching me do this live watch along. I've enjoyed watching it, even though it was a bit of a snooze fest at times. 1-0 to Borough it was. Join me and subscribe if you're new around here as well. It will be hugely helpful and benefit the channel. We've got the non-league show coming on next week, back as usual, talking about the Ebbsfleet United situation and the latest in the FA Cup. There should hopefully be some shorts from Long Eaton United's game against Leicester Navani. Hope there were some good fans in that one, in the FA Cup extra preliminary round. Anyway, thank you all very much, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye for now.